Okay, today's video we're going to talk about calling the customers that you get from, so basically you guys are in e-commerce. Non-e-commerce businesses, I still encourage you to take a look at this. I think you could pick up some valuable information that can be cross-pollinated over to what you're doing as well. But primarily, speaking to you guys that are doing e-commerce now, when you get an order, how do you take that order and make more value, lifetime value from that customer you get, specifically by calling, a little bit of text after that person orders, upwards to basically how to double the value from a customer. For you guys that are struggling to get the ROI that you need, if you need $8 of sales revenue for every dollar in ad spend, you have $4 in sales right now. This can be an easy way to get you to 8 to 1. I've seen people go from 2.5 to 1 to an 8 to 1. So it could be your ticket basically to finally get to profitability so you can start to scale. That's what PPC is all about. Knowing your number to get to break even, getting there, and then scaling. The money comes, don't worry about what you lose up front. Obviously, you run out of money, you're also kind of screwed too, but consider what you're doing an investment to figure out how to get to break even, because it's all downhill after that. You'll make your millions later, and what you paid to get it up front is nothing. So respectively, the title of this video also is there's no profit on the first sale. So respectively, for a lot of you guys, I get you guys that are running mature businesses, you don't want to call anybody afterwards. It's not automated. It's too much trouble. It's not to say that it's not doable. I know people that run call centers that just deal with what they call their house list of the customers already have. They get stuff and then they really ratchet up, the sales from the same people they already have sold at least one thing to before through their e-commerce site. But this can be a way to quickly get you to to where your campaigns start working at the level of ROI that you want. You can build up your company and then start to move away from it because you don't need it so much anymore. You've built up a solid customer base that are coming back to your site and are ordering on their own. That could be the thing that's going on, but there isn't any profit on the first sale, respectively, for a lot of you guys, more than half of the businesses out there. Therefore, you need to do something more to get something more from that customer, or that initial sale that you got from that customer, if you expect PPC to be profitable. Like I said, more than half of the situation. So if you're struggling with e-commerce PPC right now, this information that I'm going to give you will explain why. I'm going to explain why you're not getting to where you want, how to ratchet up the ROI with using the phone as an element of your overall plan. I'm going to give you some stories about companies where we've already done this, how much they've increased their ROI for what they're doing, how they specifically are doing it, or did it before, or still doing it. And respectively, a little bit more about upsells and cross-sells for e-commerce businesses, what you can do on your site. So there's never just one thing you can do to get more out of a customer that you're paying to get anyway with your ads, your PPC ads. You can do on-site, checkout, cross-sells, upsells after the sale, cross-sells, upsells, remarketing ads, upsells, cross-sells there. And I'll talk briefly about that as well. And a way to have people opt in so that you can call them later when they check out, which will get you more people that are ready to have you call and sell them more, basically. But there's also ways to just call them without doing that and make more sales, because I know people are doing this. So anyway, that's basically what's going to be covered in this video. The most common reason I have to turn clients away so I run a PPC firm here. If you don't know already, this is your first time watching the channel. Guarantee PPC. We manage people's PPC ads, PPC management firm. But the most common reason a lot of people come to me and I turn them away because their business model, what they want me to do, they want me to turn a bad business model with bad economics into something that will work just with the power of PPC alone. And a lot of times it won't, unless they're willing to do a little bit extra to get more from a customer. Respectively, I'll turn them away because what people think is they can take a low-priced, non-rare product. So like, oh, Corey, guaranteed PPC. I have some brooms here. I'd like to sell these brooms and make money. Well, what's different from between your brooms that you're selling and anybody else's? Well, I just thought that, I could sell the brooms with PPC and I'd make some money, and then with the money I make, I'll pay for, my next month's ads, and then the money I make there will pay for the third month's ads. Okay, respectively, that's not how things work unless you're selling something that you're first to market. There's not a lot of competition already. Something where there is a lot of competition, that generally won't work. We all expect that the ads will make money, but you're not going to make money on the first sale. So if all you're doing is assuming to buy or sell a broom to one person one time, and that's it, and you've made enough money to finance the ads to sell the second person the second broom, that in itself, as a business model, generally is garbage. You need to either find something that's more in demand, which a lot of you guys can go ahead and set up a landing page for a product that doesn't even exist yet, advertise and see if you got something that can be built and for your market. Or you could take what you have, which is a boring, let's say you just want to sell brooms and you want to actually make money just doing, really good PPC techniques, strategies, stuff like that I mentioned on this channel. You can do it, but also generally part of it has to be you're looking at what happens to the customer after they buy the initial broom to get them to buy more brooms or something else related to brooms, or can I sell their information to somebody else, so on and so forth. So I'll have to turn them away because they need a little bit more to the strategy than to sell the everyday item to one person one time, not needing any money for ads really, because they expect as soon as they turn the ads on, the sales they'll make the first week can pay for the second week's ads. And I'll send them back to go back and figure out how to do cross sells or upsells or save some more money so that eventually they're going to buy another broom, and then you need that second broom sale to really get the total return on what it costs to get them to buy the first time, so that now you can recycle money back into your system of ads. So they'll expect the money that they're making from just the plain Jane product right away, so that they could take that money and then finance the ads. So they start with $1,000 with ads, and I'm going to build a multi-million-dollar company from $1,000 in ads and a product that anybody can get. If it were generally that easy, by the way, somebody would be doing it already. That's why it doesn't work, okay? But you put your mind to it and you use this techniques I'm giving you here, it will work. So respectively, using an everyday item, selling it so that you sell it one time to one person and make enough money from an initial sale to pay for your next ads, that pretty much ended like 2010. I was advertising back then. You could actually pretty much still do that. The ads went up year after year. Now the ad cost is too expensive. There's too many people that jumped into it that pushed the prices up. People that are experienced in business and they understand lifetime value. They understand what the value is from a customer over their entire lifespan, and therefore are willing to pay more to get the customer because they know it'll back out after they've bought from them over the next 2 years, and have money to invest into the customer and wait a little bit before they get the money back out of it. Whereas the amateur will expect, oh, it doesn't work after they buy right away, so therefore it don't work. No, you're just competing against people who understand what the real value of a customer is. And therefore they're willing to pay more, they push you out. So sure, ads should always pay for themselves. I'm not saying they shouldn't, and it doesn't matter what you're selling. And if there's competitors doing it, you can do it. But it's already after you have maximized, in other words, you can expect to make money for what you're doing, running PPC for your company, what you're selling, after you maximize the amount of money you can make from each person on the back end too. So the whole sell, my product to one person, one time, have enough money to run the ads for the second person and so forth. If it's not a product that, is in high demand and not a lot of them out there, that generally doesn't work. You've got to figure out how to sell it to them, or at least just wait till they're willing to buy a second one and a third one and a fourth one, and taking the cumulative revenue that you have from all those sales to justify what it costs to initially get them to buy the first one, which allows them to be that much more likely to buy the second from you, and so on and so forth, assuming that they had a good experience and so forth. Part of what you do, though, to get those 3 more sales that you need to actually have the economics of the ads work out for you isn't just passive, just waiting for them to come back. Okay, I know they're going to buy a broom is a bad example. I'm selling flyer printing, and I know they're going to come back for more flyers, and the ads are priced in that all the people that they understand what lifetime value is, and that people usually on average come back 6 times, and they value that in terms of what they're willing to pay to get the customer through the initial first time. So you can just wait for those people to come back on your own, or you can do a much, much better, enough to where you probably have an edge to eat up, you could pay more than anybody else from the ads, therefore you're getting the most customers from your PPC ads. If you do some active work to get that customer back, so instead of buying from you an average of 6 times, they're buying from an average of 18 times, which is where your edge comes from. And you can do that a number of different ways, which I'm going to explain here. And but respectively, if your edge isn't a cutting edge product, or first to market with a product, or you have something that's not really that's hard to replicate, then you're going to need some of these techniques, generally speaking, if you want PPC to build a multi-million-dollar empire with your PPC ads. So maximizing a customer and lack thereof makes or breaks more than half of markets out there. So in other words, what you are able to earn from your average customer coming in from that PPC ad is probably going to be what gets the people that are consistently running their ads in the top 4 spots in Google that you see, versus the huge graveyard of that's 10 times the size of people who tried. They right away didn't get the sales they wanted to keep their ads going like the second week, and then they just stopped because their expectations were wrong to begin with. They didn't know that at the very least they have to wait for the next year for the repeat purchases that normally come through. Take that money, and then once they've waited a year and got the full value from a customer, finance the second customer. Waiting to sell more to someone is one way to actually get that value, increased value from a customer that you need to justify PPC to get the customer in the first place, which is perfectly fine for some of you guys. You'll wait longer and you'll get overall less, like I said, with the passive approach. This video is about calling people specifically after the person has ordered to get more from the person in total and get them to buy quicker. It's not just about, a lot of people think if you do stuff actively to get someone to buy that's already been bought from you once, that all that happens is you're pulling forward all the sales that they would have, or all the purchases they would have made anyway, and that's not the case. The more more creatively you reach out to your customers, the more they're going to buy in total, and the quicker they're going to buy, the quicker you're going to get to return. So if you think about it this way, if a customer on average buys from you 3 more times after they bought from you the first time using PPC ads, but it took 18 months for those average of 3 purchases to be made, and you can use some of these other secondary techniques. So instead of 3 times on average, they buy 10 times. 3 of those purchases will happen in the first 3 months. You can now double your ad spend every 3 months, which everything is about reinvesting into it. If you're ambitious, reinvesting your profit back into the ads so you can constantly spend more. So you can start out with a $1,000 a month ad budget, and 5 years from now you're spending $60,000 a month on ads. You're making $10 million a year in sales, which I don't want to toot my own horn here, but we do this all the time at the firm. With people that are ambitious and want to actually scale a company, this is what you do. So if you want to scale quicker, then you should think about doing more to get more value from the customers you do have coming in. And if you can't normally sell, like if they're buying a casket for themselves, obviously they're never going to need another one. There's other ways to monetize and get more from that customer, even if you can't sell them another casket, which I'm going to talk about as well. But the more you actually do, the more creative you are to take that customer you've already paid for to get more out of them, the quicker you're going to be able to scale your PPC, and the more likely you're going to have money that pays for the ads and all your overhead and to justify any kind of PPC to begin with. You've hit break even after all your expenses. So you can wait around simply for these customers to get back, and hopefully they like your product or service. We're talking about products mainly here, sorry. Product enough that they just come back naturally on their own, and they come back enough times that the cost you had to get them to buy in the first place justifies itself, and you eventually get your typical number of sales out of them. You can take your profit there and then double your ad budget, so on and so forth, over and over again. But the all-star marketers out there are crafting on-site, specifically on checkout, upsells. They're before and after the sale both, as one way to increase the value per customer. So there's a guy who sold digital products, okay, that was in the like get women space or whatever, and he sold a $7 product, and through the power of the, basically what you can have. So if you're not doing this already, you should at least experiment with it. It generally will work for most everybody out there for e-commerce, that before they check out, you have a pop-up there that says, hey, you bought this, we'll also throw in this other product. And for digital products, there's 100% margin there, right, respectively, right? We'll throw this in for another $10. Yes, okay. If you throw in another 5, we'll give you this and this. And you see how many you can get, right? And then start out with a $7 order, and now you got an average of 20. Okay, that gets you halfway where you need to be to pay for the ads, if you will. Then after they've made their purchase, right away you have another pop-up that says, hey, thank you for your purchase. You're going to love this. This absolutely works. You're going to be very, very impressed about the results. Just wanted to let you know, we value as a new customer. We offer all new customers actually an opportunity to get all the other material that we have. It's just another, for $99, we'll give you literally everything else, which normally the value there is $1,200. And you'll get a certain 10-20% who get that. And then your lifetime value of a customer now goes from $7 to $20 as you had before the sale. You had your upsells there. Now you have a lifetime customer value of $35 where it started out at $7. So you can see how you ratchet things up. So you don't have to rely on one thing. It's a little here, a little there, and you split test this. There's plenty of tools out there where you can split test this. You can change the wording and see what the uptake rate of each one of those upsells are, and then if it was, and then try it another way. You try the offer itself. This is where the profit's made. So you have that. That's what the really sophisticated people are doing. So you're going head to head with somebody else selling a digital product like that, respectively, and pretty much the market will only pay so much for what you're doing. The upsells there now just put you in a position where you've automatically won now. That's where the true money is made in a lot of markets like that. So, and it doesn't have to be just digital products either, where I've seen that and work with people in that capacity. But you don't stop there either. There's other options. You don't have to use them all, but the more you put it in this, the quicker you're going to get profit out from that customer. The quicker you're going to be able to scale your ad budget, put money back into it to double your ad spend, like I talked about. So you end up with a really large account eventually, and an engine that makes money. You have email and remarketing as well. So those upsells, whatever's in the upsell, you can send that same exact thing to their email address. So if they get to the point where they put their email address in and they don't buy, obviously a lot of people know now to send a cart abandonment offer to their cart, but respectively, get creative. Instead of doing that, say, hey, I know you didn't like this. I don't know, maybe you thought it was too expensive or whatever. We'll actually give you this, this, and this. If you pay this, that's a better deal. How about that? You can try that with your email. So it's another idea if you haven't thought about it. If they have bought, you can send whatever you sent popped up on the screen to their email as well. So it's just it's another shot at them. And they may only uptake that at 1%, but just instead of a $35 LTV now from our previous example. Maybe we got $38 LTV now from that. You're just through the email. And then with remarketing, anybody who's got to the cart, you can have an easily created audience just for the cart visitors who haven't bought yet. So you do that through Google Analytics. You say anybody who got to /cart, but also has not went to the success page, whatever they had on that pop-up, we basically can put that into a banner ad, which sends them to a dedicated landing page on the site where it explains that, and then when they click, it goes back to the cart, which would be the proper way to do that, okay? Same thing if they got to the success page, then you can have whatever pop-up you had after they bought, directly after they bought, on that another landing page, which as soon as they bought, they see banner ads for that upsell there that you were going to have for them post-sale for your upsell. And then now you're, instead of a $38 LTV, now you have a $40 LTV. So you're getting everything you can out of each one of these. Now we get into what this video was about, was the phone calls, okay? I just threw all this other stuff in here because basically the phone calls, there's no reason to just do the phone calls. You look at all of this together. So, but anyway, on top of that, you can use the phone to also really ratchet up way further what you can get with these automated methods. A lot of people they want to sit back and do nothing and make money. That's nice. Not to say it can't be done. You want bigger results faster, you put some elbow grease into this physically, you'll get a lot more jump in your lifetime value than you could get with these upsells alone. So, and like I said, you don't have to pick one or the other, but you know, if specifically though by using phone, what I found is you can add a checkbox to your checkout section that says if you would like help with the use or install of this product, we can call you. Sorry, I mislabeled this. We can call you after you've actually bought it and used it, so that we can give you support. You label it as support. Well, obviously that's just a sales opportunity, because anytime you get on the phone with them, you can sell them something. Now you don't go in balls to the wall and just try to sell them something when you said you were going to offer support, but respectively, you can have that checkbox checked by default, excuse me, so you have a literal excuse to call, and with that, do you ask them, hey, did you like the purchase? Do you need help with it? And then once you've solved any problem that they have, then that's when you can offer them the upsell there, okay? But it doesn't have to be just an upsell. Part of what you do when you that gives you the opportunity to actually build a relationship with that customer. The better the relationship, that personal bond that you're going to build with them on the phone that you couldn't get done through just a remarketing ad or just an email or just a pop-up on the checkout before or after purchase, you're going to get more value out of that customer, lifetime value out of that customer, than you're going to get by a significant amount now, because now they have an attachment to your brand. People don't buy from brands, people buy from people. You are, if you're a smaller shop, e-commerce shop, you are the brand. Now they know they want to buy from you because they buy from people, like I said, basically, is the best way I can put it. So more than anything, you're trying to sell something to them there if you can, obviously, but if not, you're building a bond, so they're more likely just to come back to you and buy the second purchase from you that they normally would have had to buy at some point in the future anyway. Automatically, you become the default option. Much more, therefore much more likely to come to you than go to somebody else and that customer gets poached by one of your competitors. But with that, you can also, that opens up an opportunity to call them again out of the blue. They remember you. If it's the right niche, they'll be happy to speak to you again about how things are going, and then you can sell to them again. And you can keep this going for forever, 5, 10 calls. If you add value first, and then you try to sell to them on every call, and don't hit hard sell, just saying, hey, we have these new products, you want to hear about them? And if they say, nah, whatever, then, basically screw it. But that in and itself is a massive, massive opportunity to take a customer that was only worth a few bucks and turn it into, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times what it was initially going to be worth to you anyway, by going in and adding that additional layer to your whole sales and marketing process there at your company, monetization strategy at your company. So if you don't call, okay, and you think, I mentioned selling caskets, if you know they'll only buy one casket and that's it, and or you don't want to call anybody, one other way that nobody thinks about this is you can sell those hot leads to somebody else who will cut you in on the sales, i.e. partnership. So if they bought a coffin from you, and what else are they going to buy? Okay, maybe they need catering. Local business, you're a funeral home, they dealt with you. What's something they normally always buy when they also buy the funeral supplies? Sell the information basically to that catering company, okay? And with that, they'll pay you so much. So basically, to be able to call that person and say, hey, I know it's a little difficult to play this up, but I know you're in market for, XYZ. Hey, we actually are the way to do, one option for you to do this is say, we're in partnership with XYZ funeral homes. They endorse us as the vendor for that. And, just got off the phone with XYZ. They said that you are planning a funeral. Can we have a conversation about who you're choosing for catering? Have you chosen someone yet? And just say if they say yes or no. About people that I've seen do this can get about 10% of the people to buy. So catering's worth an average of $2,000, let's say. That value of a call to that other company then is worth $200 worth of sales each and every time they get a phone call. Obviously they have margins and all that, but respectively you might be able to sell every customer their lead data for $30-40 here, which is just another way to get extra LTV to finance the customer. Your cost per lead for that funeral home might be, or the cost per sale, if we want to say that, might be $100. And now you got $30 to $40 of it financed just by selling the lead to a partner, which you have to do nothing with. It's just another way to put yourself in a position to afford to really you win at PPC being able to absorb every possible click in your market, because naturally over time you have more and more of customers coming to you. You're going to get more and more of the brand notoriety and everything to where the point it'll become a position. You'll be in a position that everybody eventually just wants to come to you because you're the top player. That should be your goal. What can we do to afford this traffic? Knowing what you need to pay for a customer going in to where you're profitable after expenses, you can try to optimize your ads to hit that number anyway, but wherever you fall short, you can use these other methods here. Phone being a big opportunity for you to do it as well. Okay, so you get the general picture of this. Now, I'm going to give you some actual real-world experiences of people I've talked to and seen do this. You can actually see how this can be applied to your business using one of these 4 instances here. So I'll get into that case studies here, case study section here next. So business opportunities, BizOp for short. This is any time that someone it might be digital products, it might be a physical all-in-one solution that you offer. If somebody's buying something to be able to set up a mini business for themselves, or it could be a big business even, to make money for themselves. Technically, buying a franchise would be one. It could be a digital product that tells you how to make money online. But I know for a fact in this business op space where they're selling packaged information that, and this is the key with this one, is one of your options are, as soon as they've bought and they've checked out, you have that information piped directly into a call center, which the call center dials the number, and within 15 minutes of that person submitting their order, they're in a buying mood. This is the reason why the cross sells and upsells work on the checkout, because when somebody's in the mood to buy, they're much more likely to buy whatever you're offering to them than even if you waited a few hours. They cool off and they're on a high, if you will. Not everybody's like that, but it's at you have a much higher chance of selling to somebody when they've already bought something, even if it's not on the same transaction. So in the BizOp space, they would have the information go directly to a call center, and that call center would try to sell a done for you solution that's like 10 times the price of what the digital product is. And respectively, that person's already high. They want to make money. If they're interested in one thing to make money, they're interested in another. So maybe that's you. Maybe you're not in a market like that. But, respectively, you just partner up with somebody that knows how to run a call center in that situation. And you just share, which if you're going to give somebody the free leads and all they got to do is call, that's pretty easy to set up. You share in the profit. That doubles the LTV from the sale of the digital product. So your competitors might be looking at, what the hell are they doing? How can they afford all those ads? I have all people come to me all the time. They say, how the hell does my competitor afford to be there up there on Google, even though after 2 months, this is what our ROI is? But basically, I got to tell them, well, they've been running their ads for 4 years already, so they have a lot more data, and they know how things work better. But also, have you checked what's happened? Have you ordered their product? You should always order their product and see what happens. Is there upsells? Are they calling people afterwards? That kind of thing. So they call, they try to talk them into buying a done-for-you solution, which is the next logical progression of what they would need to get or want to get if they want to make money. If they bought a digital product, maybe they'll just go all the way and buy the done-for-you solution. So in that market, that's huge in that market. Anything to do with BizOp, I've seen it several times done. For another example, and just something more traditional, the fishing supplies. So it's a site that sells fishing rods, the bait, or the lure, that's what, like what they put on the fishing line, motors for the boats, that kind of stuff, the trolley motors, that kind of stuff, anything, that basically you need for a fishing trip, that kind of thing. Or just to go fishing by yourself, I guess, with your buddies or whatnot. Guy here, so basically I just explained, kind of like what I'm explaining to you here. You want to make more money quicker? Why don't, when somebody orders, instead of just hoping somebody calls you before they order so you can build a relationship with them there, because you know that if you talk to them, they'll buy at a higher rate and they'll probably come back at a higher rate now, which they will. They don't know it yet, let's just say at the time, they will. You actually get more people to buy more from you, if you talk to them. So instead of just hoping that they call before they order and get the uptick in lifetime value you're going to get from that, call every single person who orders and just have a conversation with them. Maybe they'll tell you F you and hang up the phone. Maybe you're afraid that if you do that, they won't come back. Respectively, you just got to be polite about it. And like I said, the formula is you ask them, do you need any help? No? Okay, fine. But if they get talking, then that's the time later on you can say, hey, well, basically, you're buying this. Can I advise you? Like usually with, that is a great lure, but let me tell you, this one right here, this is the new one. If you like this one, you're going to love this one. And you can just start talking into more stuff directly on the call. But the bigger thing, like I said, is you're putting yourself in a position to where you can actually call later and have a conversation with the person later if you want. But you'll definitely always sell more on that call if you're just calling once, which a lot of people end up doing. This guy mainly did here. And they're going to come back. Now they know Joe from the fishing store. When they go to buy a lure in the future, they're like twice as likely to come back to that same store again than they would otherwise. Because if you buy a lure from some fishing store, a year and a half from now, when you go to buy another one, you're not going to remember who you bought it from. You're just going to go buy it from somebody else. Versus if you had a conversation with Joe for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that actually told you about how to become a better fisherman, you're going to be loyal to that brand. That's what this is mainly about. So, respectively, yes, it's a lot of work to be able to do this. A lot of people, they want to know how to make more money without having to put any more work in. The key thing is, if you're getting started, this is a great way to increase the amount of money you're making per click so that when your ads are not doing as well up front because they need time to get some traction, you can get the profitability quicker, like I was saying before. Not only that, maybe you do this forever, but the key thing is you can eventually stop doing the calls to customers as soon as they order. It can, by the way, be 15 minutes. It can be an hour after. It doesn't have to be 15 minutes. The quicker you call, the better, pretty much. the hotter they are, more likely they are to buy something else because they're hotter. But these phone calls are about building loyalty, increasing the likelihood that they're going to buy from you the next time and the next time and the next time because you're a loyal, trusted brand for that person. You do this perhaps for the first 2 to 3 years that you build your business up. Eventually, you've got enough brand coming in, people coming back, more than what your competitor does in terms of the recall rate and them coming back a second time and third time and so forth. So Google now starts sending you a lot more organic traffic because they're measuring you against your competition and how much it seems like you're a brand, a well-liked brand in the space versus your competition. You get a bunch more organic traffic. And then eventually you just say, you're riding high on all this repeat business and organic that you don't have to call anymore. So you just do it as a way to ratchet up the business initially. But for this guy, these are approximate numbers, calling every single person who calls and trying to offer advice and trying to sell more products on the spot and making sure they know that if they ever, have a question again about anything that they sell or anything that they need to buy regarding to fishing, you can come back to the store and call anytime and I'll be the one that talks to you. Lifetime value is 2.5 times than what having no communication with that buyer unless they call prior to ordering, which for fishing supplies, it wasn't that often. You're talking maybe 1 out of 10 to 20 people would actually call, whereas he talked to every single person. So this is a great way for you, like I said, to cover the gap from what you need to make per customer now to where it needs to be to have the ads be profitable. It could be a way to get your business up to a certain level of revenue, to where you want to be quicker. But that's a different scenario or a different case study for you that you might be able to use more directly for your business. I have 2 more case studies here. One, I had a guy who sold 3D printers, Stratasys 3D printers, and real expensive 3D printers. So everybody, when you say 3D printer, thinks about those desktop ones that are like a couple grand. Well, there's actually 3D printers that are 100 grand. They're more for business purposes. They make stuff that looks like an actual custom molded product because the resolution, as they call it, is tighter and it looks like just regular molded plastic on some of those more expensive ones. It's stronger, whatever. I won't get into too much detail there, but all 3D printers need what it is. It's like it takes a roll of plastic and feeds it in, and then it goes on an X and Y axis to, from the bottom up, print the part, right? Well, everybody has to keep buying that plastic, and if you need it, it's specific to the machines that you have. Okay, so if you have an expensive machine, you eventually need the plastic. You buy that plastic. You know that person. That person owns that particular machine now. Now, if you, as a person who sells those machines, and you wanting to sell one of those machines to somebody, if you had a list of every person who has a Stratasys machine now, similar to what you sell, that would be the perfect list to have. Because then you could just call up everybody and say, hey, if you need a machine, I'll give you the next one you buy, I'll give it 10% off. But we don't have that list. Second best thing can be to sell you could sell the machines on your site, but sell all the little also replacement parts that commonly break. But the main thing is the filament that you have to constantly reorder. And then sell it at a loss if you have to. It doesn't matter. Why? Because once somebody buys, you can call them up after they buy, like the fishing guy that I talked about here with you, and you can build a relationship with them pretty much the same way there and explain what's your edge, of course, for them to remember you. We sell the Stratasys machines, and we actually offer them a little bit less than what you can get on most other places, and we offer an extra 3 years warranty. So if you're going to buy, you buy from us. They like you on the phone. The next time they buy a machine, they're way more likely to buy from you now. And all you had to do to get that contact was sell a $50 roll of plastic to that person, which you've lost $10 on the sale of that plastic, but the likelihood that they eventually bought a machine from you was like 5%, 2 to 5%. So you basically paid $10 to get a chance at somebody who is now going to spend an average of $40,000 with you in the future. So you can see how that math would work. I don't know the exact figures then on what it cost to get somebody to upsell to a machine, What I can tell you, I could have calculated it prior to this video, but the ROI on the campaign, even calculating for that loss, because they were the lowest price for all the parts, if not a little bit lower, and then just ran the ads respectively. It wasn't net positive ROI if you looked at that initial sale, but if you looked at the CRM and tracked all the person who bought those parts or the filament itself and added that to what the actual revenue value was on that initial product sale, the ROI of the campaign was over 1,500% once you factor that in. So you could take something, you can sell little $3 trinkets a lot of times, use the phone to build a relationship with somebody and get that person to eventually spend thousands with you. Just for that, you're parlaying into it. You see how it's like you're laying up your future sales with the person by using the sale of a product as a way to flag people down, essentially. So anyway, you can sell products at a loss if you sell a high-end product as a way to get people on the phone. It's another way to make money using the phone for e-commerce companies as well. The final example here is a company that sold tickets, sold basketball tickets and football tickets and concert tickets and that kind of thing. Respectively, if you buy a Nebraska Cornhuskers football ticket, the likelihood that you'll buy another one is damn good. We'll just put it that way. And so what you can do is you can run, and you could send emails out to people about all the future games. And you could send and about the season tickets that you sell. And you can set up remarketing ads so that basically when the next game is coming up, you have an ad that pops up for you telling them that you have tickets for the next week's game still available. You'll get some sales that way. But why stop there? The phone, through the power of the phone, you can add way more value than you can get with email and the remarketing alone, by using that phone to try to take a customer you know is likely going to buy another ticket from somebody and somewhere in some time, and actually make sure that you are the one by using the phone. And how you do that? Well, two ways. You can text people. So as people ignore email anymore, people know that. The remarketing ads, they also a lot of times will ignore that, and nobody hardly clicks on it, even though it will bring some sales. You get a text on your phone, you're going to read that. And so respectively, you have that, and you can just call the person up and say, hey, I know you bought season tickets last year. We have this year's season tickets. Would you like to buy? Maybe they say no, and then the next year you call them again. You're building up more than anything when you sell one ticket to one person. You're building up a database of people who are likely to buy more tickets like that in the future. If you bought a rock ticket concert, all the other rock concerts that are in your city, that same city in the future, that person's that much more likely to buy those. And so I'm going to be sending customized texts to those people saying, hey, I know you bought, Five Finger Death Punch tickets, and you're going to have Disturb in your city 2 weeks from now. We have 3 tickets left. Do you want one? And then, if somebody's bought more than once, which in this particular situation, it may not be for you and for this person, it wasn't where they call every single person, but you can start texting people, and if they respond at all, now you've pretty much got implied consent to call them, so it's not so weird when you talk to them. They don't feel like it's too intrusive, and say, hey, I know you were interested in the last ticket when I texted you, I'm just letting you know in the next 3 months, there's this concert, this concert, this concert. Do you want any of the tickets? I can get you booked in right now. I got your credit card on file. All you got to do is say yes. I'll send a confirmation to your email that we have on file. I'll send you the tickets. All you got to do is say yes on the phone. And so you can do things that way, okay? Respectively, about 10% of the people that he called would buy the ticket, because it's an impulse buy. You're a person who goes to concerts and you like a certain genre, or you go to those football games, you're going to be buying. And if you don't buy that one, while you're on the phone, you can say, okay, well, you don't want this one. 6 months from now, there's this one. Or they come back to the city here. And actually, if you're looking for something next month, you can be their consultant, in other words. And between all the little twists and ways that you can offer, you just hear what they potentially want, and then place them with the right product. About 10% of the time they could place them with something. Okay, so anyway, that's another way to drastically increase the amount of ROI that you can get from a campaign, selling using regular PPC ads, that without it, you couldn't make the PPC work, which in this case you couldn't without your building out your database and looking at the value of the future sales. This is, and realistically, how you get PPC to campaigns to work when you have a lot of competition in the market. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I have a lot of other videos about other money-making PPC strategies on this channel. If you haven't seen any of my other videos yet, you should definitely check those out. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns that I use to guarantee our clients' results that I've written personally. You can check that out if you would like to see something done in a little bit more detailed manner to follow. If you have any questions about this particular strategy, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person that leaves me a comment on this channel within just a day or two time. But I hope you enjoyed this and got some really good value out of this. Something that hopefully you pick something out that's going to help you make you more money. And I hope to see you on the next one that comes out in a day or two.